What's shaking? Hey, I'm Rick Jordan, and today we're going all in. You scroll through Instagram, you scroll through wherever, and you see all these quotes about haters, right? And you've probably experienced this, and what makes me laugh, it's very laughable when I look on social media, is these comments, right? And I was looking through this media appearance that I had, because I do a lot of media, right? I was on News Nation the other week talking about the spy balloons, and you're looking through these, and you've got a lot of the post freaking went viral, because first off, News Nation, if you don't watch it, it's nationwide. It's owned by WGN, and Chris Cuomo, as in former CNN Chris Cuomo, landed on there with his new show. They've got Dan Abrams. They've got a lot of really cool programming. They're actually looking to go head to head with CNN and Fox News. And I like them because, one, they have me on all the time, which is pretty great. But then there's also, politically, they try to stay middle of the road, and it's probably the best one that I've seen, right? Because you can see Fox and Newsmax, and they tend to lean politically more to the right. CNN, obviously, to the left, along with some other outlets that are out there. But these guys, News Nation, they try to stay middle of the road. Now, I wouldn't call it unbiased, but I'm just saying they try to track down the trail of common sense, and they go out to millions of people, right? So anytime I'm on there, I'm seen by millions on streaming and cable and just on TV, which is awesome. Their YouTube channel is fairly active. They've got almost a million subscribers. I think it's 700,000 or something like that. And so pretty big for a YouTube channel. Their average view count is anywhere from 1 to 3,000, right, on these videos. But I go on there, I talk about spy balloons, and this thing blows up. The post goes viral, and it's got, at least as of today, it was around 150,000 views, which is awesome, right? And it had almost 1,000 comments on it. And I'm scrolling through these comments. Remember, we're talking about haters here, right? I'm scrolling through these comments, and I see some awesome comments that are on there about me specifically. And I know that one of my talents is being able to take complex information. You can go out there and find it. Just go to YouTube and type in News Nation Rick Jordan, and you'll see me. But then you look through the comments, and there's some awesome ones this guy Rick is very knowledgeable. You need to have it, and then another one, you need to have him back on. Better yet, give him his own show, his own segments on your station. And it's pretty cool seeing those. But then you scroll down, and there's other people. It's they start to pick on you, right? And one I saw was, and I laughed at it. It's not the Ukraine, it's Ukraine. And I'm laughing because in the moment of speaking, if you listen to the show a long time, you know that there's places that I've messed up, right? I trip over my words sometimes. It's just real. It's authentic. And that just happens. When you're doing big major media like that, the idea is that you just keep going, right? You don't stop yourself, because there's nothing that draws attention more to a mistake that you made than you drawing attention to it yourself by stopping and saying, oh, I'm sorry. And then you go back and correct it or whatever it is. So the best thing is just you keep plowing through. So, of course, when you're talking about the country, it's Ukraine. When you're talking about the Ukrainian people, it's the Ukrainian people. It's not the Ukraine, right? But I accidentally said that. And then there was this dude in the comments or girl in the comments, I don't know, obviously I can't tell gender or whatever from there, but saying, it's not the Ukraine, it's Ukraine, and then there's some other ones. There was a point, it's really funny. If you've got hair this way, sometimes when hair hits a certain angle, if you stand up against a window or something like that, it looks like you're, if you're backlit wrong. If you're standing up against a window or sun, it looks like the light is shining right through your hair. And there was an angle that they had on a side angle for one of the cameras that kind of made it look like that. So another comment was this dude's got a stick-on toupee, and I'm laughing at this. I'm dying, right? Because it's no, this is all my freaking hair. It's I'm not bald. This is all real. That's on top of my head right here. And so you've got all these amazing comments, but then you've got people that are just going to be people, and you can classify them as haters because they're picking on the way that I talk, picking on the way that I look, and God knows what else they're thinking. So I laugh at this, and I've been doing this a long time to where I can just brush that off. But at first, I'm going to tell you this, it kind of hurts, because when I first started putting myself out there a few years ago, I remember the very first big thing that I did, which was I spoke at the NASDAQ boardroom. I was invited to speak at an entrepreneurial event there. I was part of this group, and I had a short talk. But as part of that, too, I was on the NASDAQ Jumbotron. I mean, right in Times Square, freaking huge, right? I'm standing there looking at myself, kind of blown away. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. It's like go big or go home. Your first thing, there I am on the NASDAQ Jumbotron in Times Square. I've been on there a couple times recently for some TV shows that I've been on with Office Hours with David Meltzer. You know, I was right up there next to Gary Vee. It was pretty awesome. Didn't even know that was happening. When that happened with NASDAQ, you know, and my talk, I posted my talk on social, you know, because I got a video of my entire talk when I spoke at NASDAQ. And those that were closest to me, that had known me the longest time, started really kind of ripping on things, you know, and people that, you know, there were stories. And I tell a lot of, like, I'm telling you a story right now. I'm using storytelling to actually get a point across to you. This is one of the best ways to talk, by the way, when you're actually presenting to people or when you're on stage or if you're doing a podcast. Stories get people sucked in. And I'm telling you one right now to talk about our topic today, which is haters. So I'm looking through the posts, and I got a lot of great comments, you know, a lot of thumbs up, just like on News Nation, right? On how I should have my own show and how I'm really knowledgeable. You know, I'm very articulate, and I mean, all these great accolades. And then there's the haters that come in. The thing that really got to me was when I first did this thing with NASDAQ 5 years ago now. Wow, 5 freaking years ago. It's been a while. I started looking at these bad comments, and they're people that had known me for the longest time. You know, and I've talked about this here and there before, is that the ones closest to you are the ones that can actually hate on you the most, because there's this separation that takes place, and where you start to grow at a pace that's faster than those who are around you or who have known you for a long time. And it makes them feel uncomfortable. It just does, right? I mean, if you've ever played sports, right, you actually kind of get pissed off when you see somebody even on your own team that's doing better than you, if you're competitive. You know, if you were just a lazy ass sports player or whatever, I'm not talking to you right now, right? If you didn't care, I'm talking to the ones that actually cared about how well you're doing. If you're taking a look at other people, other players, and you know, they're just crushing it, like in baseball, they just keep getting hit after hit after hit. I played baseball for 9 years. You know, it's like, man, and then it's like, what in the world? You know, and you start to feel bad about yourself, but yet you project it on them, right? It's like, oh, that person always gets picked. You know, they always get the best positions. They're always in the cleanup spots. Like, well, yeah, because they're performing good, you know, but it's like their success is something that bothers you. And in that moment, it's like, you know, you're not happy for their success because it just makes you realize even more and shines a light on your own inadequacies to where you're not performing to the level that they are. Now, for some, you can feel this for a moment and recognize and be aware that this is all you, right? And you're projecting that disgust of yourself because you're really disgusted with yourself and you're projecting it onto that other person. You know, that's really what like the root of true hating is you're seeing somebody else's success, and it's difficult for you to be happy for them because you're stuck in a pile of shit right now. But that pile of shit that you're in is really because of your own choice. You know, so now I'm focusing this on you right now and talking to you as if you're the one. You're probably the one that's successful, and that's really why I'm talking to you today. Or you've done some great things lately, or you're about to do some great things. And I'm talking to you when you're the one that steps out and starts to make some kind of growth in your life, some kind of transition, some kind of transformation, something that accelerates you beyond those that are in your immediate circle right now. You're going to get some stuff for it. You just will, you know, and they could be in the form of a, you know, not necessarily coming out like I'm talking about these comments that I'm talking about with me and from people who had known me all my life and then start to put me down, you know, because they felt like I was talking. That's another funny thing. People always think that you're going to, when you're talking in generalities, I get this all the freaking time about this show right here too. So, you know, it's like, oh, you were talking about me. It's like, no, I talked about that. I don't do podcasts about people. You know, I don't do that. You know, it's just situations that inspire me and not even situations that have to do with myself. And a lot of times it's reflective upon my own self so that I can still clear some more crap out of my life. It's stuff that I don't want. So I'm going to talk about it to everybody else. And it's like, come on this growth journey with me. Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's what I'm doing about it. Here's how I'm dealing with it. Here's how I'm growing through it. Come join with me on this. That's why I talk about things the way that I do on this show. And why I'm going to talk to you about what to do about haters here. So all these people start to hate on you, but it's it's really a reflection of where they're at in their own steaming pile of cow poop. It just is, because they recognize as you start to accelerate faster than what they are, it just makes it more apparent. And it's like that light of shortcoming gets so much brighter upon them. It's like the spotlight is on you, like the spotlight of success, but then that freaking huge sun of shortcoming light shines upon them whenever you do something good. Now, you've probably been that person, as I was describing before, where it was difficult for you to be happy for somebody else's success. I know you have, because I know I've been that person before too. Not often, thank goodness, because I'm genuinely compassionate and excited for a lot of people, right? And at the same time, I have this competitive nature. It's like, well, if you're going to do that, then that means that I can do that. And you know what? I'm going to top you. And it ends up being like a healthy thing to when you see somebody else succeed. At least for me, it becomes a healthy thing because it drives me to push even harder to go after what I'm doing and go after what I see as success for myself. And that's another key component too, because success for someone else might not be the same thing as success for you. You might have a different path for success. What success means to somebody else or looks like to somebody else or around somebody else, it could be very different for what that looks like and about you for your own success. And that's okay. And that's called being secure in your own success. You need to be secure in your own success. In order to be secure in your own success, you have to be able to support other people in their success. Please let that sink in. In order to be secure in your own success, you have to be secure about someone else's success. That's powerful. Now, when you're in the position like I was, when whether it was News Nation this past week or whether it was NASDAQ 5 years ago, and you've got these haters, I started recognizing a little while ago and actually having compassion for them because they're going through some stuff. So when it comes to haters, you see these things like, I just saw this thing on Instagram the other day. It was like, when it comes to haters, it's like, don't step over them. It's like, walk on them, and it's like, come on. It's like, you're going to take that and that becomes like animosity and bitterness and all these other things, which are very natural human emotions to go negative when somebody else is being negative towards you. Very natural. But that's what I'm challenging you today to rise above. And the way you rise above that, as far as having this negative feeling towards somebody else, and I'm not saying don't be sad, because the way people can treat you when you start to grow and you start to see success, it can really, really hurt. That's reality, is those words, those actions, they do hurt. But at the same time, that's why I'm saying when you have compassion, that's the way to rise above haters. Because you can look at them, you can pray for them. You can start to throw good energy their way and say, hey, you know what? It sounds like you might be really struggling with something. What can I help you with? And you have compassion for them, especially if you've known them well, and you will know them well, because the ones that will come at you the hardest are actually the ones that will have probably been the closest to you over the past decade of your life or whatever. Closest friends, family, partners, all of that. The way to rise above haters is not like go around them as this thing, like step on them, whatever. That's stupid. That's really stupid. The way to rise above haters, it's one word: compassion. Because in that moment, you can start to be that shining light for them, and you can start to inspire, and you can use your success to help others achieve their own just by carving that path. It's pretty freaking awesome. The only way to do that is by having compassion for your haters. That's pure, simple. Easier said than done, I'll tell you that, because again, it'll hurt when you start to hear these things. It'll really hurt when you start to hear these things coming at you. And some words can cut really, really deep. If it continues, it might be wise to separate yourself from that person for a little while. And that's okay too. But reach out to them when you see that they're hurting, because the only reason that they're throwing hurtful words your way, hurtful actions towards you, is because they're hurting. That's where your compassion can overcome that. You can reach out and say, hey, you know what? It seems like there's something going on. What is it? How can I help? You'll be able to lift them up. They'll be able to grab onto your hand like you're pulling them out of just this disgusting pit of self deprecation, right? Just lack of self-esteem, insecurity, and you can actually be the one with your compassion to make that hater somebody who becomes a fan and a follower. It's super powerful. Go all in.